with heels on. I wanna see her flex with no clothes on, yeah. She reminds me of a supermodel. Take her to the club, ain't no problem popping bottles. Shawty got a mean walk with heels on. I wanna see her flex with no clothes on, yeah.
Instead of the other way around, where the model works, is assigned to the agency, to where the agency books her gigs and they get a percentage, but then they also can get charged fees depending on what they, if they spend money on the model, pay for her pictures or whatever, they're allowed to take that from her check. But the biggest difference is the way the money goes out. As far as with me, the way the money goes out, I only get 15% on what I assist them with, and that's it. And I'm more in contact with the model, everything. So that's the biggest difference.
Anybody have a follow-up question? No? Okay.
In the business I've been doing with the modeling business, in the agency will book you. I had one guy named Jason Wiggins. He was the first black model in Virginia that ever went national and made a lot of money. They book you and they can book you 1,000 places, but a manager is something like personal assistant to you. They make sure when you go to places, everything is all right, make sure you got your clothes right, make sure you can get on time to this agency, to that agency, that appointment, that fashion show. Then when a booking agent is gonna book you, they get the check, they give it to you, my experience. And I'd rather have a manager personally that works with the agency so I know what I'm doing, where I'm going, and what I'm going to do.
Okay, so I know a lot of models don't know how to, I guess, represent themselves when they're going to look for a manager or agent or want to look for jobs. I know a lot of agencies and managers also look for specific things in models when they're looking to work with them. So can you all explain to me, or to the audience and me, what you all look for in a model when picking the model, and what a model should look for in a manager or agent when they go seeking representation?
I would say hunger, drive, determination. You tend to get a lot of models who say they want one thing, but then actually that's not actually what they want. That's not their motive. You know what I mean? So just that hunger, that drive. A certain look, a marketable look. Something where I can see a future for you in the next year, 2 years, 3 years.
I think, well, you have to be determined regardless. You can't be a model. Some people don't be a model overnight. Determination that you're going to get out and get stuff done. I look for a model that's really, that I can catch on the street and in a club and on a runway at all the same damn time. So, and I don't, when I catch models, I catch them off guard when they're looking, like going to the supermarket, you gotta get some milk or something, you're gonna get some cereal or something. And then I can see you that way, imagine when we put you in style, you get the makeup on you, how you gonna look. So that's what kind of people I usually look for. And I look for the American person, all American person, because we're all American. I can make you European, I can make you Italian, I can make you like you're Chinese, it don't make a difference. I can do it. And that's why I'm so successful in this. But I'm always looking for someone that's gonna really get down with me and I'm gonna get down with you. You can't just come 2 days and expect me to find you the biggest agency in the world and you don't have the right skills and the right training to do. That's what some things we're lacking in our area here, the right training. People think, a hair show is gonna make you a celebrity overnight. It doesn't do that. So training, 2, 3, 4, 5 years can get you where you need to be. Some people think it's overnight and it doesn't work. I mean, you don't have it in 2 weeks. You start. I can't come to this one. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't stay this photo shoot that long. I gotta go to work. I gotta go to school. But the people that really want it, by any means necessary, you're gonna go out and get it. And that's the kind of people I look for.
For is ambition, wanting to learn this business first,
just like with any business, you have to know what you're doing. A lot of times I see models or ladies wanting to be models step in front of a camera, get pictures taken, and then they run around the neighborhood calling themselves a model. And then when a gig comes up, I put out a casting, you know, they want to tell me what they should get paid. And the first thing I ask them, what's your marketing demographics? And they're like, huh? And that's what you're gonna get paid, huh? All I ask is just learn the business, learn what market you fit, learn what companies are looking for. You know, while you're watching TV, looking at magazines, learn what advertising companies are doing. You know, it's very important that you stay on top of your game when you're trying to market yourself to a prospective client. You can't just take pictures and think that's it. You know, nobody that's famous right now had it that easy. So I look for people that have quality, that pay attention to what's going on, quality with photography work, quality in how they present themselves. If it's on the internet, if it's a portfolio, if it's sending out a press release. A lot of girls, you know, do a lot of ass shots. I can't do nothing with that. My clients make clothes. So, you know, if you're gonna submit to a fashion company or to somebody that make clothes, you have to be smart enough to send pictures with clothes on. And that's what we're missing a lot of. And you know, and not being too anxious. You know, that's a bad thing. That's where a lot of girls get in trouble. They get anxious to shoot with anybody that pays them attention. Instead of doing their research, you know, looking at people, look how people talk on Facebook to each other or Twitter with each other. You kind of learn, you know, if they're real about what they do or not. Get references from other models, who work with who. That's very important, because you get a lot of girls that work with a photographer, get a whole bunch of pictures taken and they think they did something, but then you got photographers or so-called photographers that's selling your pictures overseas and you don't even know nothing about it, and they getting rich off you. So you have to learn this business, so that's what I look for.
As for myself, as far as the models that I come across and that catch my eye, they hold themselves to a certain stature as far as the level of discipline that they have pertaining to them in the pursuit of what they want to do, down to how they eat, whether they're working out, whether they're spending all of their nights in the club, whether they're using this whole, I guess, thing of wanting to be a model to get in the club, or, you know, get next to somebody in the club. You know, it's that list can keep going. But all of these things are things that I pay attention to, down to how you react to a comment on somebody commenting on your generic picture on Facebook, Instagram, things of that nature. How much you're fishing to get more likes on a picture just because that's what you do on a daily basis, but likes don't get you jobs. You know, so these are some of the things that I really pay attention to, and of course, like, you know, piggybacking off of what everybody else is saying as far as a certain look. One thing I can honestly say with me being here in Virginia and outside of Virginia a lot is that I do find that a lot of models in Virginia don't have that open mind when it comes to the industry. You know, they live in a box that only allows for them to gravitate to certain levels of modeling. So at a certain point, if you come into the industry with a limitation, you can only expect so many things to be given to you. So if you're doing something today and you still have that limitation 5 years from now, you can only expect to get the same thing that you have today. So I can add so much more, but it will be up here for a long time.
So we have a question from the audience. Would you like to stand up and state your name and what you do?
Hello, my name is Onay. I'm an R&B artist, as well as songwriter. who's also interested in extending my brand into modeling. My main question was, what's the best way to go about trying to find management or somebody to manage you, especially in a business where, you know, everybody's cutthroat, everybody's kind of out for themselves? What's the best way to go about looking for somebody who's going to manage you and actually have your back and actually, you know, not try to get over on you?
I can kind of answer that question, and that just comes from more so my business background. You definitely have to know your business, so you need to know yourself, what it is you're doing and what you're supposed to get out of your business. So when you go look for someone, you know, okay, I know what needs to be done. I don't have the time to do it. You're going to do it for me. So if you do drop the ball, I can call you on it. I can let you know, well, I didn't have the time, but you should have checked up on this, or you should have been able to do this. So you do need to research and know what it is you want to get into and the direction and how things are supposed to be done. Yes, someone's going to be doing it for you, but you do need to stay informed on what you're doing.
One of the biggest things that a lot of models and a lot of people do is you guys don't call people for what it is, okay? So if you know you have a set group of managers, a set group of photographers, and you come to the forefront when you're starting your research and you're starting to get these complaints about them, you're starting to see things, but then go to the actual person and ask them about those complaints. Ask them what happened. And it's like, you know, you guys are so scared to say, well, this photographer screwed me over or this management team screwed me over. But at the end of the day, like, nobody can really blacklist you in the industry. So, you know, be upfront with what you find and what, how, you know, from your research and everything, to let people know, listen, this photographer ain't really that good. See, so that's why right now photographers and managers are getting over on everybody, because you guys won't do that. And I'm not just saying just you guys, but I'm saying models in general all across the nation won't do it. I could take a girl today, shoot her pictures 6 months and don't give her to her for, you know, 6 months, and she paid me, and nobody's gonna go nowhere and say anything to nobody. Nobody. You guys won't, because the biggest fear you have is that I'm gonna blacklist you in the industry. I don't have that power. It's just not, nobody has that power, unless it's a casting director that has his hand in every movie and video and everything else. I mean, that's the only thing. So your research, and then start calling these people on the bullshit, basically. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And then coming out with it and say, hey, what happened with you in this situation? I want to know before I start working with you. You know what I'm saying? So research, like starting off research and then calling them on the BS. That's it.
Okay, so most of the
You had a question.
you have a question? Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a question. Excuse me. I also want to make a comment on some things I heard earlier. You mentioned about success. I want to know, as far as a model, what is considered a successful model?
To me?
Yeah.
In my career of doing successful models, I have a couple of my models, probably over 2 dozen. One of my models, Jason Wiggins, he started in Norfolk State. His major was business. Jason has been on every talk show. He's been in a couple of movies. He was the first black model in the state of Virginia ever to reach the stats. He had 3 agencies he was doing in New York. He had Aqua, Elite, and he had New York Casting Modeling Company. 3 agencies that had him when he went, and they really took care of him, sent him in New York. He stayed for 6-7 years. Now he's probably my size. He got out of business because he really wanted to go and do white Caucasian, which he should have started in urban fashion, and he didn't. So it wasn't a blackmail to him, but he really thought anybody cared nothing about him, so he got back in his major, what he was doing. And then I have 2 more. Alvina Carr, she's on every Sprint commercial they've ever done, and she's had her own agency in California, Carr Agency. And then I have Sean Walker. He went, Sean Walker modeled for me when he first started in Norfolk State. He went to California to sing. Sean Walker is the lead dancer for Beyonce, and he's in Soul Man. He is Samuel Jackson's double. So, and his guy make more money than I ever probably make.
Now, how about on a smaller scale of somebody that maybe like a model that's in college or just out of high school, or somebody here like the young lady speaking or whatever? What is success even to somebody that's just starting, so they can feel successful moving forward into the stuff that you're saying?
When you start doing shows and people recognize you in the street, not because of who you are, because of what they're seeing you in. Success when they're in high school and different colleges and different advertising in the local area want to use that person because they've done a show and done it so well. Give them encouragement to go on.
That's the answer I was looking for, by the way. He mentioned earlier about it being a business, and that's something that I think that people really should think about as far as it is a business, so you got to think of it from a business mind, like he was saying, as opposed to thinking of it from personal or liking somebody or a favorite photographer or a favorite whatever. But just like in music, which I'm in music, it's a business, and more models, artists, or whatever need to think about it's a business and approach it strictly as a business. That's like I said, I had a question, a comment. My question is, the model right here on this post, I don't know if you saw when you got up here in the red dress, that's the model that I manage. I'm in the music business, but the only thing I can do for models is usually like album covers, which she's on the album cover there, and posters and stuff like that. My question is, like, going back to the success thing, is that what can somebody like this young lady? I found her on Facebook. We networked. She was in Erie, Pennsylvania at the time. At the time I was in Cleveland, Ohio, and I drove to Erie, worked with her, we signed an agreement. I told her that, I'm not big in the modeling thing, but I'm in the music business. I can get you on, album covers, posters, whatever like that. So she did that. And, what is a person like that, she had done modeling stuff. Like she had like videos on Facebook showing, doing photos with cars and stuff like that. But how do people like in smaller areas, like, I think Virginia Beach is a small area too, but like she was from, like I say, Erie, Pennsylvania, one at the time. How these people get into other areas to try to get bigger, or without necessarily moving to LA or moving to New York, is a way to still get bigger and still call a small town your home?
Well, you have to move. You have to go where the market is. You have to go where the work is. You have to. That's what I was saying. You have to understand your market, where you fit in your market. Where's your market located? Because you have a LA market, you have a New York market, you have a Miami market. I'm from Detroit. I can't do anything in Detroit. There's no market for modeling in Detroit. So I moved to Vegas. And with Vegas, I have the whole West Coast region, where there's a market. The modeling market there is fashion, bikinis, swimwear, and then you got your acting. So if someone wants to really grow in this business, they have to go to where the work is and get that work, and then understand what market they fit and the proper way to market themselves to those prospective clients. They have to come to events like this. They have to spend money out their pocket. They have to invest in their career like everyone else does.
Like going to school.
It's a business. You have to invest in your business. When you become a model, you become a businesswoman. You incorporate yourself as an LLC, you invest your money, and you write off in taxes, and you get your money back. But you have to invest in what you want to do. You can't just sit at home like most so-called models I know, sit at home and want jobs to come to them. I got jobs right now in LA and New York, and I got a model in Kansas asking me, well, when's something gonna come to Kansas? Does anything come to Kansas? That's common sense. If you want the work, go get the work. It's not gonna come to you.
Raytron and I, Raytron pretty much was one of the first people that I worked with in the industry that allowed for me to get the understanding of, like working with a model and actually helping to develop the model, as opposed to just, taking a picture of the model and, posting a picture online or whatever it may be. We've taken models in this, different situations and giving them the opportunity of pretty much manifesting themselves from being that person that just walks around on a daily basis and having a good look to somebody that's, having an opportunity to look good across the world on, in national publications or international publications, commercials, whatever it may be. But it wasn't just from the aspect of them just being a model. We helped develop them from the aspect of being a better person and, like he was saying, as far as the business aspect of things, I've taken models myself from the sense of seeing them on Facebook. I have one model that I actually took from Facebook, and I saw that she had a good look. So from there, I put her in what I call my boot camp, and it's basically a situation of me putting her through a development process of understanding the modeling industry from a business aspect, from her doing what she's supposed to do in front of the camera, outside of the camera, to then putting her in a position of going back and forth from here to New York just to get her in front of the right people. And now she's able to get the national and international ads and commercials and things of that nature, where she can still live here in Hampton Roads, but she's able to go to New York for 2 or 3 days and make 10 times more, even 20 times more than what she would make here in Hampton Roads. So for the young lady that you're representing, I would suggest have her first get an understanding of what it is that she wants to do within modeling, because there's too many models out here as it is. There's too many M words. There's too many people. Basically, there's too many females saying they're models. There's too many so-called models, basically. And honestly, it's a lot of people with these boxes we call cameras that's feeding into the whole situation. And I'm being honest, it frustrates me because of the simple fact that I fought hard to get the knowledge that I do have, and for me to put the amount of work that I put in, and to have the new age come in and totally disrespect it and not appreciate it, it's kind of like saddening at the same time, because you do want to help the potential that you see around you, but if the potential pretty much gets the wrong foundation and started, it's kind of hard to break old habits in the situation. So, you know, going back to helping your talent that you represent, I would definitely recommend that you get her with photographers that are going to allow for her to get the proper images that she needs to market her in the areas that she, you know, whatever genre of modeling that she wants to get into, that she can market herself in those particular genres. Sometimes she doesn't even need a professional picture. She just needs a quality picture. It can be on a white wall, you know, but as long as it's a quality image that allows for the person to see who she is naturally, that's the biggest thing. Because even with me, I could send, sometimes it's castings that I'll send out for in New York. They want pictures, but at the same time they're asking, oh, can you send a video? Because we really want to see the personality of this person. Even nowadays, they're asking for, I get castings all the time now, they're asking for the Facebook page, the Instagram, the Twitter, because at the end of the day, the model doesn't realize, but it's always an interview process going on. And you're being interviewed by people like, you know, him, who's an agent, and they're looking at your Twitter page of how you talk to this person and that person on a daily basis, what you're saying, what you're not saying. You know, all of these things become this introduction or even this interview that the actual person that's being interviewed is not there for, and they're losing the opportunity without even knowing. So, you know, these are some of the things that can help her out in, you know, becoming successful. But, you know, for me, I tell my models, every day that you put 100% in is a day of success. So
I just want to implement you saying a lot of that stuff applies to music business as well. I know this is a panel all of a sudden because I go to people's Twitter and Facebook. As far as the music business, I go to people's Twitter and Facebook as well to see their personality, just like you said, because somebody can look a certain way, and you find out they got a nasty attitude or foul mouth or real, super ghetto, and that may not be what you want, or you may not want that representing you. Like, you might send somebody somewhere and you're not there yourself. You don't want them representing you with that ghetto mouth. So that's very important. Don't put anything on the internet you don't want nobody to see. I was actually reading something on LinkedIn yesterday about what's the company called? Hootsuite had their thing is they tweet out job opportunities, so you got to tweet them back. And they were saying it was a guy, he looked, like they say, like they interviewed, they actually took an interview on him, and he interviewed very well. And then they saw later that he was tweeting out talking about he just did an interview for Hootsuite, and he was drunk as hell and all that. and they said that, needless to say, he interviewed perfect, but they did not hire him because of what he tweeted out to the world. So don't ever say something, don't ever do or say anything you don't want to ever have to look at again, whether it's in the courtroom, whether it's whatever. If you say it, you have to live with it forever.
I like to add one more thing. Another thing, if you are a model or if you are someone that's creating a brand for yourself, do just that. And whatever name it is that's supposed to go with your brand, stick to that name. Because when your name is Sugar Mama Tutu on one thing and then Juicy Fruit 25 on the next thing, nobody's gonna take you serious, you know. So
I learned this the hard way from shooting with photographers in this area who will just take pictures and the next day it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram. And I've told people before, okay, now I know that this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Can you give me the picture so that I can figure out what I need to do with them from now? But you know, oh, they're not going. They're on your page. You know, they can see you. They're not on my page, so you know I can put them up. But you don't know who's seeing your pictures. You know, photographers don't know who's seeing your pictures. I don't know who's seeing my pictures. I mean, I Google myself all the time, so I see my pictures, you know, pop up and whatnot. So I want to know, and I'm sure everybody else wants to know, what's the difference between good exposure and bad exposure, and why you should keep your images, you know, off the internet, and until you decide what you're going to do with them when you get them back.
Okay, good exposure is a video shoot with Madonna. Good exposure is not. Good exposure is not a video shoot with your local rap artist. I'm sorry to say it. I know there's a lot of local rap artists here. I'm sorry to say it, but that's not good exposure. Okay. As far as the internet is concerned, good exposure is having your images on some of the well-known blog spots out there. Like, I mean, blogging sites out there. Some of the larger magazines / websites out there. Bad exposure is just basically shooting to go on Facebook and shooting to go on Instagram, shooting to have a new Avi. I mean, you know, that's you know, like you're at that point in time, you're working against yourself at that point in time. Everything that you do, every photo shoot that you do should impact something. You know what I mean? Now, if you have a goal to have new images that you want to drop as an Avi for the next month, and that's your goal, then okay, then that's impacting something. But you're not going to do every single photo shoot the same way. Like a lot of times I tell my girls, like the ones I manage and stuff like that, we don't do nothing for free. So if anybody comes to you and says, oh, this is an exposure job, no, we don't do anything for free. There's nothing out there, because I know the value of my girls. I know how I value them, and I want them to value themselves like that. So if you can't put a dollar amount on it, they won't be on it. They won't be anywhere involved with it. And I mean, that's just basic about it. Just find out from that photographer before you shoot with him, where are these images going to go? What are we going to do with these images? How far is your reach? What can you do for me as a photographer? Now also, that kind of comes into play with paying for your photo shoots, because you're only gonna the well-known photographers are the photographers that you really gonna have to pay for. You know, and a lot of models don't want to pay for photo shoots. They want a lot of TFP. They want a lot of free photo shoots. They want you to do this, hook them up with this, or hook them up with that. It's not gonna happen. You get what you pay for in this industry. If you're paying $50 a look for a photo shoot, trust me, you're getting garbage images. Period. Period. If you're paying $150, $300 a look, you're getting pretty decent images. Not all the time, but for the most part, you are. You know, and just go off and look at that. And like I said, continue to do your research on that particular person and stuff like that, and then go that route.
I can touch on the exposure conversation from a few different angles. I started out modeling, actually Dee was one of the first photographers that I worked with. And as a stylist and as a hairstylist, I hear the exposure thing all the time. Like, oh yeah, you know, I got this fashion show going on, so-and-so is gonna be there. Cool, that's nice. If you feel like you wanna do it, do it. Don't think, oh, I'm going to this and this is gonna be my breakout moment. I'm not saying don't do things for exposure, it's cool, whatever, but you have to set goals. So if the free exposure happens to fall into your area of goals, like you wanted to do local fashion shows, then you do it, you know. But if you're trying to be signed to Ford or Wilhelmina and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go be in a rapper's video in a thong, it doesn't really work for the exposure in the area that you want to go in. You know, if you're gonna do something for free and you've researched it, then cool. If it benefits where you're going. In this industry, it's all goal-based. You know, there's plenty of girls that come in and say, oh, I want to be an urban model, I want to be an urban model. You get on all the covers of these magazines, and then what? What are you doing after that? You know what I mean? Like, that's just me personally. No one has ever answered me to this day. Pretty much all you have left to do, you know? So it's like, you just need to set goals. You know, if you say, okay, I want to do these magazines, after these magazines, I want to look into possibly being on a show. I always forget her name. Lashana. Well, no, not Lashana. She's on the game. I always forget her name. She had goals. You know, like, I've worked for her before, and she was just like, yeah, I like the magazines, I did it, but acting was my thing. So when I got the opportunity to do more acting roles and videos, I took it. No, they didn't pay, but I wanted to do acting. So when they saw that I did a video that was acting, cool. Then I got casting directors that were looking at me now as an actress/model because it worked into my goal. So exposure is not the worst thing. You just have to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing fits into the area that you want to go to. That's pretty much it.
All right, my scenario of good exposure and bad exposure, and this is not, you know, downing or degrading anything anybody is riding in right now, but good exposure is like riding in a Benz with all the features. Bad exposure is like driving a Pinto with all the good features. You can't expect to get a lot out of the Pinto and, you know, have it to ride the same as a Benz. It's just not going to happen, meaning that you can't expect to go out and say, okay, I've done this fashion show or this hair show, or I've stood outside and given out drinks for the last 8 hours or whatever it may be, to be something that's going to necessarily benefit you, because 9 times out of 10, when it's a smaller type show, you're not going to get the training that you're supposed to get. Exposure is not necessarily something that's a bad thing. Exposure can be something that you use as practice. No different than how a basketball player will go to the gym just to, you know, play against whomever's at the gym. He doesn't know the quality of players, or she doesn't know the quality of players that they're going to be playing against once they go to the gym, but they still going to be honing in on their craft to better themselves. So the exposure that you get sometimes is not necessarily a bad thing, but you can't expect to say one thing I always get when I ask this question, anybody that comes to me and tells me that they want to model, 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna ask you, tell me 3 magazines that you would like to see yourself in. And if you're 5'2" and you tell me that you want to be in Vogue magazine, then I'm gonna look at you, you know, off the top and not believe anything that you're gonna tell me from that point on. Like, I had one situation from where an actual model was from here, and the first thing I asked her was that question, and she told me, she said, I want to be in LA Magazine. And I was like, LA Magazine? Like, what is LA Magazine? And I was like, can you spell that for me? And she was like, ELLE. At this point, that cut all conversation for me.
When people tell you that do this gig, you're going to get exposure, who are you going to be exposed to is what you need to ask them. You have to understand the value of what you're doing versus exposure. I've done a lot of, myself, I casted a lot of gigs for free because it gave me exposure to other casting directors, to production people, to where on the back end, when they hired me, they paid me. So you have to understand the value of exposure. Who are you being exposed to a whole bunch of people on the internet, or are you being exposed to people that can actually hire you? Do you need that experience to get free exposure? Do you need that free exposure experience? So it's up to you to kind of, know what you want to do. How do you want to build your resume versus on who you work with and the value of, do you really need to do this gig for free, and is it going to benefit you? Going back to the internet, how you present yourself on the internet. Photoshop. Now, I cast for a lot of work. I cast for a lot of music videos. A lot of them are shot out in LA. And when I put out a casting, I get pictures. If your picture is 20 pounds lighter than what you are, and you show up in person, and your picture, your look doesn't match your picture, you will get kicked off set. First thing a lot of these models need to understand is, if you know what markets you fit, then you market you. You don't market what a photographer heavily photoshopped. And they got crazy with the liquefy button and pulled 20 pounds off of you. Or added to the butt. Because casting directors they might ask to see you, and they're gonna see what you really look like. That's very important. And once you mess that up, that's messed up forever. Because we all talk. We all talk. Like, now that I know them, we're all gonna talk. So the way you present yourself on the internet is very important. Present what's real. You know, it's okay to Photoshop blemishes and, you know, temporary things, or, you know, it's okay to do some Photoshop, but heavily Photoshop when you adding on 20 pounds here, 50 pounds here, your hips are 45, but they really are 32. And then you show up. I done seen girls get fired from gigs. I done seen girls getting sent home, cussed out on set, because you waste people's time. People that eat and sleep this business. So when you present yourself the right way. Give yourself the right exposure that way. You know, don't present nothing fake.
Can I add something real quick to the Photoshop thing? Photographers, like, I always get, like, you know, personally, people hound me about my pictures. So as a model, I didn't edit the picture. He did, or she did. So how do you, when you talking to a photographer, Dexter, if I was to come to you and say, you know, I want to look like this, but you made me look like Buffy the Body, and I look like this, and I say the next time we shoot, can you not do that? And they continue. Obviously, we stop working with this person, but how do you make sure that the photographer's not going to mess up what you just paid money for?
Well, the thing is, you look at what they already are putting out, and that's going to give you the answer that you already need to know, because it's no different than how it is, like, you know, going back to the car situation. If you're going to shop for a car, you're not going to just go look at the car from the outside. You're going to test drive it, and you're going to do some research on it to see if it's really worth your money, you know, putting your money into it. So, I mean, I see it all the time. I mean, like, I get people that ask me to do that. You know, give me some more butt, give me some more breasts, you know, give me some more hair, you know, add some more eyelashes on. I'm like, well, what are you going to bring to the shoot? You know, so, but at the end of the day, a lot of them are getting by with it. I see it every day in the magazines. I mean, it's something on a major scale now that this is what is believable. I mean, and you can't take it away, because it's happening not just on a smaller scale, but it's happening on a larger scale. You know, it's happening with the tire banks, and, you know, and they don't ask for it. That's where it started. Yeah, that's where it started, and it just trickled on down. But it's not that they ask for it. It's almost like it's a requirement nowadays. But just don't get crazy with it. Don't get, you know, excessive with it. But allow for yourself to still have these images, like I said, you know, still have these images where you might take a good shot on a white wall, and it's just your shot, because these images will get you the job. Like, I've had images that I've retouched, and I didn't go overboard with it, but when I sent it in, they still didn't believe it was the person, so I still had to send just a random regular shot, you know, taken with natural daylight or something. So you still control it, and you know what is overly done once you look at this person's portfolio. It's gonna, you know, like my grandma used to say, the proof is in the pudding. So.
I just want somebody to make me a little smaller. So, for the question for exposure, I'm so glad you brought that question up, because I was going to say it if you didn't. I have a friend of mine that's been in the business in New York probably about 12 years, and I met him about About 5 years ago, and actually I don't think I'm his manager because I don't do that stuff anymore. I like to make you look good. He called me for an ideal, and they were supposed to come actually to this club when we first opened up. I know you know Mama Jones, who is the rapper son. What's his name? Jones. Jim Jones' mother. She's supposed to come here to do a live taping here at Bentley's and go to DC and Richmond to do some stuff to try to get some clothing line. And she got a friend of mine named Lewis Allen III. Is his full name. We call him Lou. He's been out in New York for a long time, and he started getting exposure to some stuff that it was a little exposure. People never saw him. He played football, semi-pro football. He did contract work. He did stuff for modeling, and he did this and did that, the Black Caucus and all this stuff. And exposure that they saw him at one, he was scared because she thought because when she played on TV, she was a ghetto mother. And I told him, I said, you can't judge the book by its cover. You have to research. And now this question, just answer you all, you have to research who the agencies are. Are they going to fight for you to get you what you need if you qualify for that area? And he was. And I told him, I said, Louis, we're going to go. I went to New York a couple weeks ago. And I said, well, you're going to get the gig if you just go ahead. She may act that way on TV. Sometimes they pay you to act that way. I said, go ahead and do what you got to do. And he did it. I don't know if y'all saw Christy and Mr. Jones on TV 2 weeks ago when she had a fashion show. And Lewis was the one who they saw, and then when he walked in the room, they passed out. But he didn't make the cut. He didn't make the actual show on the TV taping because Jim Jones wanted to wear that jacket he wanted to wear, and they only had 4 jackets. Lewis now is on every Twitter that they put out, and he's on a national cover for jackets. So the exposure he got was really, he thought, well, he got paid for it all, but he wanted to be on TV in the fashion show. But realizing what the exposure he really got was bigger than all of that, because now he's the cover for the jackets for now till the seasons change. So you got to really wear out where you want to go and who is fighting for you. You can't just go because this company has done it, all my friends, and they put you on a list and you never get exposed. So you got to wear out where you want to go, who's going to fight for you, and sit down and talk to him. This is where I want to be. Is this the kind of model you think I should be? And let the agency and the agent manager tell you and advise you on some stuff. It's always two heads are better than one, and it's the way you want to go. At the end of the day, you're the person that has to make the decision. If you're in the agent, this is what I want y'all to do or whatever I want to pay for. So be careful of that, because actually, he was supposed to be here today, but we couldn't get him out of Jersey to come talk to you about some things that he's been in the business for a long time, and he's not got blackballed, but he's scared to get in certain things because he don't want to be exposed to the wrong place, the wrong people, and that business in that kind of New York is kind of wishy-washy about that kind of stuff. So you got to be aware of who agency and who you're going with in that kind of business.
Even sometimes paid exposure, like paid work could be like bad for your career too. So, exposure is not always synonymous with free, but at the same time, you just got to select what you do in this industry. There's certain magazines that you should and shouldn't be messing with. There's certain photographers you should and shouldn't be messing with. There's certain websites that you should and shouldn't be dealing with. There's certain casting directors that you shouldn't be dealing with. There's certain managers that you should and shouldn't be dealing with. I mean, even across the music industry as a whole, you put yourself in a rut and you'll get stuck there, and it's so hard to bring yourself out of there. And I had to learn the hard way. But your career can flourish when you know exactly who to deal with when it comes to this industry. Know who not to deal with. So, but even getting paid $1,000 for a gig that requires you to be half naked on a video, I mean, that could kill your career. You know what I'm saying? So even that paid exposure can also be bad for you as well. So again, it goes right back to what we talked about earlier, is research everything that you do, period. Just know exactly who you're dealing with, know who you're going to be working with, know who you shouldn't be working with, know who the grimy people in the industry, and know who the outstanding and people that are actually out here to try to help you in the industry, instead of trying to get over it.
I do want to add one more thing to the Photoshop thing. Of course. But the main thing as far as Photoshop is you doing your part as the model, the singer, the whatever. Like, you can't expect to come to the photo shoot and it's like, you know, you're completely out of shape. Your skin is a wreck. Like, your hair is a mess. Like, yeah, like you said, your weave looking like a hat. Like, one thing that I can say about this area and a lot of models' portfolios that I see from day one, they're trying to do a conceptual shoot. Okay, a conceptual shoot is gonna add about 10 pounds of makeup to your face, probably put a hairstyle on your head that's not gonna allow for somebody to really know what kind of hair you have, or if it's your hair that you do have. Like, there's so much stuff added into the photo shoot that when somebody really wants to see you, they don't know who you are. So, you know, the best thing to be able to do first as a model, like, I get models come to me all the time, it's like, oh, you don't have props and you don't have this and you don't have that. You are your prop. If you can't model just with yourself in front of a blank background, then what are you doing? Yeah, exactly. You know, so it you know, with the whole Photoshop thing, it's so many things that you have to come to the table with yourself. And if you're not willing to do it, then the modeling industry is not going to be for you.
Try to, when you're going for castings, try to send unedited pictures to castings. That'll help you out a lot. And if you can't send unedited pictures to a casting, you shouldn't be modeling. Real talk, I'm sorry. I mean, because like the whole urban industry is just crazy right now with everybody who thinking that Photoshop is going to be your savior. Man, it's not the case. Okay, unedited picture means raw, straight out the camera. Just snapping the picture and then we give that to you. Let's take Photoshop out of the equation. Like, this will actually let you know if you should be a model or not, because most of the larger agencies, mainstream agencies like Ford, Elite, stuff like that, they take images that are unedited. You Polaroids, like, I mean, you can't send them an edited picture. Period. They won't even accept it. You know, and one of the biggest problems with this industry is I can't send you on a casting call with edited images because I won't know how you actually look, and then when you get to that actual venue, if you're gonna look how your pictures are gonna look. So I always require all my models, I get 30-second videos. First of all, before you even sign up, we get 30-second videos, and then we get all unedited pictures, and then we get professional pictures at the same time to see how you work on a photo shoot. Edited pictures should only be used for features and covers of magazines and stuff like that, not for your submissions to castings and stuff like that. At the same time with videos, I mean, you can't be edited in a video. So, you know, I mean, they can't take off 20, 30 pounds. Or they can do it, but they're not going to spend the $1 million to $2 million it costs to actually do it for one person. They're not going to do it. So, just, I mean, if you're a larger female or something like that, like, work out. If you want to come to that side of things and you don't want to be a plus size model, then work out. I mean, this is your job. This is your craft. This is your business. Everything that you do about it should pertain to that. You should be working out every day. You should eat right. You should drink water. Stay away from sodas. You want your face to be clear. You know, you want your hair to be nice. You know, you take your vitamins. You do what you have to do. Everything that you do, if you're serious about this, you will actually make it a life-changing decision to change your entire diet, to change your style, everything. The way you get your hair done on a regular basis, because a lot of girls feel like, yeah, you know, I'm going to be a model. I'm just going to go ahead and get my hair dreaded up. A lot of times, a lot of casting directors don't even want you to have that type of hair, you know, keep a natural hair look. It's a lot of things, you know, I mean, but yeah, whenever you go for casting, send regular pictures. That can basically help you out a lot with embarrassment, going to a showing up somewhere and them telling you, nah, this ain't you, or whatever. And I've had girls tell me that before.
And don't waste your time. You're not gonna do it, put your 100% in. Don't waste your time, and you're not gonna waste mine, but nothing time. If you're not gonna do it, put your 100%. You know, if you want, and I'm talking to girls, I'm talking to guys too. The girls, you know, you want that good hair. You're not gonna go to the Chinese restaurant and get something that costs $22. You gotta spend $200 on that one track to go around here to look good. Guys, you know, if you wanna go out, you're not gonna go get that polo with the club on the side. You're gonna get the real polo. You wanna do it. So don't waste your time and your money. Put an extra more dollars to it, an extra more time, and then if you really want to do it, people see you. Because I've worked with Dexter a couple of times, and I brought some people over, and he asked me to style some people, And I went in the bathroom in this house and said, Lord, help me to hold out a little while longer. And when we finished the photo shoot, I guarantee they were one of our best pictures ever that we took together. And it's just the person wanted it real bad. They didn't care. Do what you got to do. They came with all kind of stuff, hair, places you don't want to see. And we went in there and we got stuff, and we took some scissors and lawnmowers, and we got stuff straight. And we had some people that were absolutely like, I was shocked. I'm my own critic to me. I was very shocked at the work that we had done. And these people have went to places, like I said, Beyonce and all them, when I thought they would never make it out of Norfolk. But you gotta really put their time in. The person left, had no money, had $200 for a one-way ticket. Parents, they couldn't come back. I had helped wash his clothes, and look today, he make more money than I do here and anywhere else. So, you gotta really put your mind to it. And he hasn't been back but one time to Norfolk, because he's always on the road. So don't waste your time. They got other stuff. They got daycare, bakery, stuff like that you can do. On the career.
We got some questions from the audience. Can you stand up and tell us your name and what you do?
All right, my name is Mandy, aka Lady C, and I have a question. As far as artists, when it comes to photography, is it important for a model to have a release with them as well when they come to get, photographed?
Not with me, because I'm up front. So when you shoot with me, I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna get. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do with the images, and that's how it's gonna be. But with a lot of other, why you look at me like that? With a lot of other photographers, yeah, that's the case. Don't look at me like that.
But I will say something. I have a business background. I just feel it's safer to just cover the bases. Regardless of, I've known you for 20 years, let's just go ahead. It's cool. Go ahead, sign your name on the paper. So we're all happy. At the end of the day, if something happens, remember this? Oh, okay, cool. Just to cover the base. I'm not saying walk into everything you go, here's a contract. This is what I need you to do today, sign it. No, but if you're gonna do a photo shoot and you're concerned, if you even have to think about that thought, just go with it and just have it signed. Some photographers won't. And if you're so against it, clearly you had other intentions. So get it signed if you can. If you can't, if there's a valid reason, cool. But just to safeguard, I sometimes as a stylist, when I go in to do TFPs, I have releases. I'm not going to sit there and put my time and effort in something. You send it to a magazine, you get paid, and I'm over here like, so y'all ain't gonna call me, no one's gonna tell me I was in the magazine, nothing. So you need to, I've had that happen many a time. So now I show up to a photo shoot, here's my release, here's my information, and you sign this, so I know when stuff comes out, I know where it's going, who's doing what, and everything, just to cover the bases. It's so much easier.
And with that comes a certain level of respect. If someone presents you that black and white paper, then you gotta give them that much more respect for doing so. Because I know for myself as a photographer, I've seen my work in plenty magazines. I've actually seen my work in movies. I've seen my work on banners riding down Virginia Beach Boulevard, and I've not known anything about this. Yeah, we had an image that we did together, and this image was done probably in like 2004 or 5, and they waited till about 2008 to put it on BET. And we didn't know anything about it, but the people that was in the image, they were happy about it because they were on, they got the exposure. I did some work for a company down in North Carolina, and that particular company was featured in the documentary that Chris Rock did on good hair. And I was hired for one thing, for the images to be used in a brochure and some banners, and the next thing I know, the images are in the movie. But I wasn't compensated for it, and I've had models to actually have their images where they would give the images because, of course, like I said, they got them in the club for free, or it got them on the cover of this mixtape, or they used the image in basically in an unlawful way for them to benefit from it, whereas I didn't even get credit for the work. So it's a two-way street in the situation, and most of the time, I can probably say 9 times out of 10, when you work with me, I'm gonna ask you to sign a release, and this is the main reason I ask for the person to sign a release. And then another thing with the release, it doesn't say, okay, you're gonna get all the pictures either. So that's another problem that the industry has nowadays as well, based on this digital thing. You know, when I came into the industry, I was shooting film, so you didn't get the negatives. So that's the same way I still live today. If you ask me for all the images on CD, that means you're asking me for the negatives. You're not getting that. If you're not gonna pay for it, you're not gonna get it. So.
First thing a model should do is understand the laws of photography, who has inherent rights. A photographer always have inherent rights. The model release will allow you to stipulate the usage of those photos that you negotiate with the photographer. You and the photographer have to come to an understanding before you put something down. So either you're going to share rights on pictures, there's going to be some permissions involved before pictures are used. You have to understand what you want to do. You have to sit down, negotiate with the photographer, come to an agreement, and then y'all put that release together and sign it and follow it. A lot of photographers don't want their work going to certain projects. I don't want models, you know, y'all might like a certain website. I don't want models putting none of their pictures on that certain website, because that's a whole different level that I'm not dealing with. You already know. And everybody go too. Yeah, so you have to understand the laws that govern artistic creation. And there are federal laws that follow.